Alright, so in the last video we talked about starter bases, and I said you should try to build near clay. So today we're going to talk about why. I should have done some inventory management before this, but here we are. So I need a shovel. Get me a shovel real quick. This white stuff here is the clay. That's what it looks like. It's much easier to recognize from the side than it is from the top. But you can also see it on your map. If we look on here, see this whiter spot? That's all clay. As here, here. So I've got a fair amount of it around me, which will come in handy. So we'll get this shovel. We'll collect some of this. It breaks into these little balls, kind of like clay does in Minecraft, but we're going to use it very differently than that. So I'll gather some of this up and I'll be right back. Alright, so here we are back at base. I got 2 stacks of clay. So this clay, just like the knapping, you're going to come over somewhere you have a nice flat spot to work. Crouch, probably with shift, and right click, and it gives you a list of things you can make. You'll notice I have blue clay. There is blue clay and fire clay. I don't have any examples of fire clay near my base, but it looks the same. When you burn it, it looks the same. The only difference is fire clay is used later for your forges. Or not the forge, but the bloomery, when you get into ironworking, and we will talk about that in a later video. But for now, we'll just look through this real quick. We got bowls. You can make 1 or 4. A planter. Clay pots. These are for cooking. Your crocks, these are for storing your food. Your crucibles, these are for smelting your metal. Flower pots, your ingot molds, raw blue clay shingles. Your storage vessel, this is the upgrade for the reed baskets that I have inside. Your anvil mold, and then you have various other molds to make different metal works. And then the last one is the watering can. So, we'll go ahead and make these ingot molds, and we'll make an anvil mold so you can get a good idea of what this looks like. So here we go. We'll pick this ingot mold. So we get these designs that we're trying to make. It's kind of like when you knap. This part needs to be removed. We can press F though. Oops. And take out a little bit more at a time. So we're taking out a 2x2 there, and then if we come up here, right click, we can add it back. Left click to remove, right click to add. If you look at the top, you can see where it says available voxels. So when I add some, that goes down by 2. So it keeps track of how much clay you're using as you go. And then when we finish this layer, you're going to see that it's going to go through 1, and now I just went down a clay. So we'll switch back to 1, and we'll fill these edges. So it doesn't use much clay to make these items. The bigger ones, like your storage vessel, the watering can, the anvil, they take quite a bit more than these ones, these smaller ones. And then we can come over to duplicate layer, and you can just hold right click, and it will copy whatever you had done on the layer before, and when it's done, it jumps into your inventory. So now I'm going to go ahead and make this anvil mold. It's quite a bit bigger, and it'll showcase a little bit more of what we're doing here. So we fill in these boundaries. I'm guessing your starting square is 1 clay worth, and that's how it determines. So like with the ingot mold, you saw we had to break that in half to get the 2. You would have to just clean the sides off of it, but when you do that, if you look up top, I got those voxels back. So you're not losing clay. So now this one spreads out, so we're making the base of this anvil right now. And I'll probably just go quickly through this. And there we have it. This one didn't jump into my inventory. All we have to do is grab it with a free spot. So then we'll bring them in here and we'll put them in the fire. So we'll start with these ingot molds. You'll see they say cold just like everything else, but it tells us what we're going to get fired. So now I need some fuel. So we'll grab this stack here. I don't know how much of this it'll actually take. We'll go ahead and stick it all in and light this guy. You can add stuff manually, or you can just shift and stick it in. So if you know it's getting low or you're cooking something that's going to take a while and you want to just add some real quick, you can do it that way. I don't know which is really faster, probably depends on how you play. I don't like that sound, so we are going to lock the door. Bad neighborhood. So you can look at these, you can see their baking temperature. It's 650. This peat will burn at 900, so the peat has to get up to temperature. It's high enough now for these to cook, so once this hits 650, that bar starts filling. These are getting fired. So we'll wait for these to be done, and I'll bring you back when they are. Alright, the anvil's firing. We have these 2 ingot molds, so we can take these and we can set them down on the ground like these other molds that I've already done. With these ingot molds you can put 2 to a square, so if you crouch and hit again, it'll put 2 in there. It's kind of nice for space. One other thing you can do with this, clay is you can make bricks out of it. So it makes a raw brick. You have to fire these as well. These ones have to bake at 850, so it takes a little more heat to get these ones. But if we press H, we can look at these fired bricks, and you have some building options with them. So if you look, it takes mortar. I'm doing these videos in kind of a progression style, and at this point in the progression we don't have metal, which means we can't make the buckets and the barrels to make mortar. So while this is an option for clay, it would not currently be an option in your progression. So something to remember for later, that you do have these building options, you just don't have them quite yet. So, and I will get into mortar in a later episode, how to make that when it comes to barrels. But for now, this is the basics part in progression. This would be your basic first step with clay. So the anvil's done. We got it right here. We don't really have room for it, so I'll just put it down right here, I guess, so you can see it. Crouch. So we'll fill this with metal, and then we'll have an anvil to work on. So I hope that was helpful to you, showing the early game clay forming to make your different molds for your metalworking, your cooking. If you guys liked it, let me know. If there's anything you think I could have shown better, or you have any questions, just put them in the comments. And I hope you guys have a good day.